Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to focus on something that's really useful for English language learners, especially beginners. We're going to be breaking down a simple dialogue that you can use in everyday life.
Right. We're going to be diving into a conversation about exchanging phone numbers, and we're going to keep it really simple using easy words so that if you are a beginner, you can start to build your confidence and use English right away.
Exactly. So to kind of set the scene, imagine we're at a cafe and two people have just met for the first time. They've had a nice conversation. They want to stay in touch.
This is the dialogue exchanging phone numbers. Hi, Alex. I'm Ella. It was really nice to meet you.
Hi, Ella. I'm Alex. It was great talking to you too.
Listen, can I have your phone number? I'd love to hear about that book you mentioned.
Sure. My number is 555-1234.
Okay, I will save it now. Can you text me so I have your number too?
Okay. I will send a message now.
Got it. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome, Ella.
See, even if you're just starting to learn English, you can understand this whole conversation.
Absolutely. And it uses really basic vocabulary that you can start using today. Okay, so let's dive into some of the key words and phrases from this dialogue. Right away, we hear Ella ask for Alex's phone number. What I find interesting here is how those two words work together.
Yeah, you're right. Phone number is like one unit. It's how we talk about those digits you need to call or text someone, and it's a really common phrase that you'll use all the time in English.
Absolutely. And Ella asked very politely using, "Can I have your phone number?" This "can I" structure is really useful for making polite requests in English.
It really is. You can use it for so many things, like, can I have a coffee? Or can I ask a question? Can I use the restroom? It's simple, but so useful.
Yeah, you're totally right. And so after Alex gives his phone number, Ella says, "I will save it now." So this means she's adding his number to her phone so she can call or text him later.
Exactly. And by saying now, she's showing that she's really interested in staying in touch. It's a small detail, but it changes how we understand her.
That's a good point. Then to make sure they both have each other's numbers, Ella asks Alex, "Can you text me so I have your number
But
too?" Texting is so common these days, so this is a really important phrase to know.
yeah, and what's interesting is Ella doesn't directly ask for Alex's number again. She kind of phrases it as a request for him to text her, which accomplishes the same goal, but in a smoother way.
It's true. It's a really clever communication strategy, and we'll talk about that a little more later. But first, let's review some of these important words again. We have phone number, which is what you need to call or text someone.
Right. And we have save, which means to store the number in your phone's contacts.
And then finally, text, which is the action of sending a written message on your phone.
Exactly. These words might seem basic, but they're really the foundation for a lot of conversations in English.
Absolutely. And remember that phrase, "Can I have your phone number?" It's something you use all the time. So let's hear that dialogue one more time. We'll be Alex and Ella again, so you can really focus on those key phrases.
Okay, I'm ready. Hi, Alex. I'm Ella. It was really nice to meet you.
Hi, Ella. I'm Alex. It was great talking to you, too.
Listen, can I have your phone number? I'd love to hear about that book you mentioned.
Sure. My number is 555-1234.
Okay, I will save it now. Can you text me so I have your number too?
Okay. I will send a message now.
Got it. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome, Ella. So now that we've heard that dialogue a couple of times and we've reviewed some key vocabulary, let's move on to the next level of our deep dive. We're going to talk about why Ella phrased her request for Alex's number in that specific way and what it tells us about how people communicate in English.
So, welcome back. We were just listening to a really simple dialogue about exchanging phone numbers, but even basic conversations can have some really interesting stuff going on underneath the surface.
Yeah, I know. It's like we're detectives trying to find clues about how people really communicate.
Yeah.
So before we were talking about how Ella asks Alex to text her, and it seemed like a really smooth way to make sure they both get each other's contact information.
Exactly, but there's actually a deeper reason why Ella's approach is so clever. It's all about, the social dynamics and kind of the unspoken rules of communication.
Okay, I'm listening.
Well, think about it. In a lot of cultures, just directly asking for someone's phone number can be seen as a little too forward, especially when you've just met.
Oh, yeah, like you could put someone on the spot.
Right. But by saying, can you text me so I have your number too? Ella is taking the pressure off. It just feels like a casual exchange of information.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like she's saying we both benefit from sharing our numbers instead of just her wanting his number.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
Yeah,
Alex feels good about helping her out, and Ella gets what she wants without seeming too pushy. It's a really good example of how effective communication isn't always about what you say directly, but it's about how you say it.
I love it. It's like a little dance,
Yeah.
politeness and strategy. And it makes me think, are there other ways we can use this kind of indirect communication to make our English conversations, smoother?
Oh, that's a great question. There are so many ways to get what you want without being super direct. For example, instead of saying, I want to go to that new restaurant, you could say, I've heard such good things about that new restaurant. Have you been there?
No, that's clever. Yeah, you're kind of hinting at what you want without demanding it.
Exactly. And the other person is probably going to be more open to it because it feels like they're part of the decision.
That's such a good tip. I'm going to try that. But before I get too carried away with all these communication strategies, let's go back to our dialogue for a second. We already talked about phone number, save, and text, but is there another important word or phrase we should highlight?
Yes, absolutely. I think we should talk about, can you text me? We talked about it a little before, but
Hmm.
it's so useful and you can use it in so many situations beyond just exchanging phone number.
Like what kind of situations?
Well, imagine you're meeting a friend at the park, but you're running late. You could text them and say, hey, can you text me when you get there? I'm stuck in traffic.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. It's
Ah.
so much easier than calling.
Right. Or let's say you need to send a document to a coworker, but you don't have their email address. You could just say, hey, can you text me your email address so I can send you that file?
Yeah, that's so much easier than trying to explain everything on the phone. Can you text me? It's like a magic
It
phrase.
really is. And it shows that you're comfortable using technology, which is really important these days.
That's true. Texting is just such a normal part of how we communicate now, especially in English-speaking cultures.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to make sure we really get this phrase, let's hear that part of the dialogue one more time.
Okay, great idea. I'll be Alex and you be Ella.
Oh, sure.
Sure, my number is 555-1234.
Okay, I will save it now. Can you text me so I have your number too?
Okay, I will send a message now.
Got it. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome, Ella.
Yeah.
Hearing that again really makes that phrase stick. Can you text me? It's simple, but so useful.
Exactly. And remember, the more you practice these everyday phrases, the more confident you'll become speaking English.
Absolutely. So as we move towards the end of our deep dive, let's think about what we've learned so far. We started with a simple dialogue about exchanging phone numbers.
Yeah. And then we talked about how clever Ella's communication strategy was and how she uses this indirect language to get what she wants.
And we talked about how important the phrase, can you text me, is. It's so useful in everyday English conversation.
Yeah, we've covered a lot, but there's actually one more insightful thing we want to share with you.
Hmm. I wonder what it is. Okay, so we talked about that smart communication strategy, you know, asking someone to text you. And we talked about how useful can you text me
Yeah.
is. What else is there to discover in this simple conversation?
Well, this might seem like a small detail, but did you notice how Alex and Ella use simple words like okay and sure a lot? It's like these little words help the whole conversation move along smoothly.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't really think about those specific words, but I guess they do come up quite a bit. What's so important about them?
These words are like the glue that keeps the conversation together. It shows that you're listening, you understand, and you're engaged in the conversation. They might be small and simple, but they're really important to making your English sound natural and confident.
Okay, I see. I see. It's like they're adding this friendly rhythm to the conversation.
Right. It's like they're little nods of agreement. They show that you're on the same page.
So let's break this down. We hear Alex say, sure, when Ella asks for his phone number. It's like a really easy way to say, yes, I'm happy to give you my number.
Right. And then Ella says, okay, a few times, like when she says, okay, I will save it now. This shows that she's really paying attention to what Alex is saying.
And then at the end, Ella says, got it, after Alex says he sent a text. It's a quick way to let him know she got his message, and that wraps up their conversation.
Exactly. It's like closing the loop on the conversation. And these little words, okay, sure, and got it, they're like the building blocks for bigger and more complex conversations.
So even though they seem really small, mastering these words is important to sounding more fluent and more natural in English.
Absolutely. It's like having a secret weapon for anyone learning English. They're not fancy or complicated, but they are the key to communicating clearly and confidently.
Wow, that's such great advice. I'm going to pay more attention to how I use these words when I talk to people.
I think you should. It can really make a difference. And remember, we've been talking about a simple dialogue today, but you can use these tips in any conversation, no matter how complicated.
Yeah, it's true. It's all about learning those basic parts of conversation and using them to say what you want to say.
Exactly. And speaking of goals, if your goal is to be more fluent in English, remember to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We have lots more deep dives about communication.
We're here to help you on your English learning journey.
Okay, so before we go, let's listen to that dialogue one last time. And this time, let's focus on how Alex and Ella use those simple words like, okay, sure, and got it, to keep the conversation flowing.
Sounds good. I'm ready to be Alex again.
Hi, Alex. I'm Ella. It was really nice to meet you.
Hi, Ella. I'm Alex. It was great talking to you, too.
Listen, can I have your phone number? I'd love to hear about that book you mentioned.
Sure. My number is 555-1234.
Okay, I will save it now. Can you text me so I have your number too?
Okay. I will send a message now.
Got it. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome, Ella. Wow. Hearing it again really shows how important those simple words are. It's amazing how much they make the conversation sound natural and easy.
Right. And remember, everyone, even native English speakers, use these simple words all the time. Don't underestimate how important they are.
That's really good advice for anyone learning English. So to wrap up this deep dive, let's remember that even the simplest conversations can teach us something new. If we pay attention to the details and keep practicing, we can all become more confident and fluent when we communicate in English.
That's right. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep having fun with English.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. We hope you learned something new and helpful today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining the conversation here at Kaz English. We hope you found it fun and informative. Don't forget to check out kazapp.uk. That's KAZAPP for more tips, resources, and interactive practice. Keep exploring, keep chatting, and we'll catch up with you again soon.